Did you know every single time you shift into park without touching the parking brake, you're dumping the full weight of your car onto a tiny metal pin inside your transmission? It's called the parking pawl, and it was never designed to hold a vehicle on a slope. That's literally the parking brake's job. Here's the kicker. Fixing this takes exactly 1 second and costs nothing. So stick around, because this video is going to show you the small habits that are quietly killing your drivetrain, and the 1 second fix that stops it cold. Most people think shifting into park means their car is safely locked. But that assumption is quietly grinding down one of the most expensive components in your drivetrain every single time you do it. So here's what's actually going on inside your transmission. There's a small metal pin, or hook, depending on your vehicle, called the parking pawl. It's maybe the size of your thumb. When you shift into park, that little pin slides into a notched wheel connected to your transmission's output shaft and physically stops it from spinning. That's it. That's the whole mechanism. One small pin keeping your car from rolling away. Here's the problem though. That pawl was designed to lock a car that's already stationary on flat ground. It was not designed to catch a rolling vehicle or hold the weight of a 3,000-pound car pressing against it on any kind of slope. But that's exactly what happens when you shift into park before setting your parking brake. The car rolls just a tiny bit, sometimes so little you can't even feel it. And that full vehicle load transfers right onto the pawl. Think about it like this. Imagine hanging a full-size refrigerator from a coat hook on the back of a door. The hook might hold. It probably will, at least for a while. But every single time you hang that fridge, you're bending the hook a little more. The metal is fatiguing. And one day, without any warning, it just gives. That's exactly what's happening inside your transmission, just in slow motion over years. And you won't believe how fast this adds up. Because this isn't a one-time problem. It's cumulative damage. Every time you park on a grade without using the brake first, you're stressing the pawl, the linkage around it, and the transmission case itself. Over years of that, you're looking at a repair bill anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000 depending on the vehicle. All from a habit that takes 1 extra second to change. So here's the fix. Before you shift into park, press the parking brake first. Let it engage fully and hold the car. Then shift into park. That order is everything. When you do it that way, the parking brake carries the vehicle load, not the pawl. The pawl just drops into place with basically zero pressure on it. It's doing its job without fighting the weight of the entire car at the same time. Here's the kicker though. A lot of people think setting the brake after you're already in park accomplishes the same thing. It doesn't. If you shift into park first, that pawl is already loaded the moment the car settles against it. Engaging the brake after that doesn't unload it. The stress already happened. The order isn't just a preference. It's the whole point. Do this consistently and your transmission pawl essentially never bears vehicle weight. It just sits there doing almost nothing, which is exactly what you want from a component you never want to think about. And don't think this only matters when you're parked on a steep hill. Even a slight driveway pitch or a crowned road surface. The kind where the center of the road is higher than the edges to drain water. That's enough to load the pawl. So this is an every single time habit, not just a sometimes thing. Your engine doesn't just wear out all at once. It gets worn down by small things you'd fix in 2 minutes if you knew they were happening. And 2 of the biggest culprits are things most people never even glance at between oil changes. Start with battery terminals. Most drivers don't think about their battery until the car won't start. But by that point, the damage has already been building for months. And here's the thing. It's not always the battery itself that's the problem. When battery terminals get corroded or even just a little loose, the connection between the battery and the starter motor gets resistive. Electricity doesn't flow cleanly anymore. So the starter has to pull harder to turn the engine over. And that extra load stresses the starter motor, strains the alternator, and causes voltage drops that mess with your engine's sensors and fuel injectors on every cold start. Every single morning, your engine is fighting through a bad connection just to wake up. Fixing it takes almost no time at all. If the terminals are corroded, a wire brush and a little baking soda mixed with water will clean them up in about 2 minutes. If a clamp is loose, tightening it takes maybe 10 seconds. Either way, that startup strain is completely gone, and it costs basically nothing. Compare that to a starter replacement, which runs $300 to $500, or an alternator job that can easily hit $800. That's the cost of skipping a 2-minute check. So what does corrosion actually look like? It shows up as a white or blue-green crusty buildup right around the terminal clamp. If you pop your hood right now and see that on either post, your car is working harder than it needs to on every single startup. It's like trying to run a sprint while breathing through a pinched straw. You're getting there, but your body is fighting the whole way. Your engine is doing the same thing. Now, oil viscosity. This one sounds dry, but it's actually one of the most direct ways people cause internal engine friction without realizing it. Using the wrong viscosity means the oil film between your moving metal parts is either too thick to flow fast enough when the engine is cold, or too thin to hold up under heat once you're up to operating temperature. Your owner's manual lists a specific viscosity, something like 5W30 or 0W20. Did you know that number is a precise engineering spec, not just a general guideline? It's based on your engine's internal tolerances, the clearances between parts, and the temperature range your engine runs in. Running a heavier oil because it sounds more protective can actually starve tight clearances at startup because the oil is too thick to get there fast enough. Going too light means you lose that protective film when things heat up. Here's the kicker. The first 5 seconds after a cold start are when the majority of engine wear happens. Oil hasn't fully circulated yet, so metal parts are running against each other with minimal lubrication. The right viscosity gets oil to those surfaces faster, which shrinks that vulnerable window down. Studies on engine wear patterns show that a disproportionate share of total wear happens right in those first minutes of operation. Your car doesn't break down in one big dramatic moment. It just gets worn down by 100 small moments where it had to work harder than it needed to. The pawl, the corroded terminals, the wrong oil. None of that kills your car today. It just moves the bad day closer. So now you've got the 1-second parking sequence, the 2-minute terminal check, and the right way to think about oil viscosity. None of it costs money. Don't forget to subscribe, because the next video covers the air filter mistake that's quietly strangling your engine's fuel efficiency.